So good evening to everyone for this wonderful gathering for the STEM program, the version of 22.0, where this program is the motivation of the students as well as the faculty, in what way the students and faculty can able to enrich knowledge in the name of technology aspects with the name of science, technology, and engineering, mathematics. So this program is been started in the pandemic situation. Until now, we have been consecutively make this program to be run over on every month on the last week of the session. And this program is really making one of the progressive of the department by combining with an CSE Mumbai chapter. And we have a progressively making this particular objective in every month actually. So on today's session, we have three minds of our departments. One is Mr. Vijay Kumar, who is going to take care about the full stack development. And second is Ms. Saveetha from third year, going to take care about the topic of nanotechnology. That's very interesting. And the third one is Ms. 𝙤𝙪𝙧𝙨 is going to talk about the database management system that is related to the curriculum. So I welcome all these three young minds to share his knowledge to our students as well as the faculty. So as initial step, I will call Mr. Vijay Kumar from Final Year to take over the session. Thank you.
First of all, good evening to all my AIC family members. Myself, Vijay Kumar, a final year student from the Department of Computer Science and Engineering in Arunai Engineering College. I'm going to present about full stack development. Let me start it. On hearing the term, some may arise the question, what is the term full stack development refers to? The answer is, it refers to the development of both front-end and back-end portions of the web application. Front-end is a visible part of a website or a web application which is responsible for user experience. The user directly interacts with the front-end portion of a web application or a website. Next, back-end. Back-end refers to the server-side development of a web application or a website with primary focus on how the website works. It is responsible for managing the database through queries and APIs by the client-side commands. Full-stack web developers have the ability to design complete web application or website. They work on front-end, back-end, database, and debugging of web applications or websites. Front-end development. Everything on a web page, from the logo to the search bar, buttons, overall layout, and how the user interacts with the page was created by a front-end developer. Front-end developers are in charge of the look and feel of the website. Front-end developers also make sure that the website looks good on all devices. For example, phones, tablets, and computer screens. This is called responsive web design. Some of the front-end languages are HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. It is used to design the front-end portion of web pages using markup language. HTML is a combination of hypertext and markup language. Hypertext defines the link between web pages, and the markup language is used to define the text documentation within tag, which defines the structure of web pages. CSS. CSS means cascading style sheets. It is a design language intended to simplify the process of making web pages presentable. CSS allows you to apply styles to pages. More importantly, it enables you to do this independent of HTML that makes up each web page. JavaScript. JavaScript is the famous scripting language used to create the magic on the sites to make the site interactive for the user. It is used to enhancing the functionality of a website to run cool games and web-based software. Some of the front-end libraries and frameworks. AngularJS, React.js, Bootstrap, jQuery, SAS are some of the front-end libraries and frameworks for front-end development. AngularJS is a JavaScript open-source front-end framework that is mainly used to develop single-page web applications. It is continuously growing and expanding framework which provides better ways for developing web applications. It changes the static HTML to dynamic HTML. It is an open-source project which can be freely used and changed by anyone. It extends HTML attributes with directives, and data is bound with HTML. React.js is a declarative, efficient, and flexible JavaScript library for building user interfaces. React.js is an open-source component-based front-end library responsible only for the view of layer of the application. React.js is maintained by Facebook. Bootstrap. Bootstrap is a free and open-source tool for creating responsive websites and web applications. It is the most popular HTML, CSS, and JavaScript framework for developing responsive mobile-first websites. jQuery. jQuery is an open-source JavaScript library that simplifies the interaction between an HTML or a CSS document, or more precisely, the document object model (DOM) and JavaScript. Elaborating the terms, jQuery simplifies HTML document traversing and manipulation, browsing event handling, DOM animations, AJAX interactions, and cross-browser JavaScript development. SAS is the most reliable, mature, and robust CSS extension language It is used to extend the functionality of an existing CSS of a site, including everything from variables, inheritance, and nesting with ease. Backend development. Backend development refers to the part of the application that user does not see. Backend developers focus on the logic of the site, creating servers and working with databases and application programming interfaces. For example, the content and layout for a form would be created on the client side, but when the user submits an information, it gets processed on the server side, that means backend. The backend portion is built by using some libraries and frameworks and languages. Some of the backend languages are PHP, C++, Java, JavaScript, and Python. PHP is a server-side scripting language designed specifically for web development. Since PHP code executed on server-side, so it is called server-side scripting language. C++ is a general-purpose programming language and widely used nowadays for competitive programming. It is also used as backend language. Java is one of the most popular and widely used programming language and platform. It is highly scalable. Java components are easily available. Python is a programming language that lets you work quickly and integrate systems more efficiently. JavaScript can be used as both front-end and back-end programming languages. Node.js is an open source and cross-platform runtime environment for executing JavaScript code outside a browser. You need to remember that Node.js is not a framework and not a programming language. Most of the people are confused and understand it's a framework or a programming language. We often use Node.js for building backend services like APIs, like a web app or a mobile app. It is used in production by large companies such as PayPal, Uber, Netflix, Walmart, and so on. Backend frameworks. The list of backend frameworks are Express, Django, Rails, Laravel, Spring, and etc. Other backend programming or scripting languages are C#, Ruby, REST, Go, and etc. Databases. Database is a collection of interrelated data which helps in efficient retrieval, insertion, and deletion of a data from database and organizes the data in the form of tables, views, schemas, and reports, etc. Some of the databases are SQL, Oracle, and MongoDB. Oracle database is a collection of data which is treated as a unit. The purpose of the database is to store and retrieve information related to the query. It is a database server used to manage the information. MongoDB. It is the most popular NoSQL database. It is an open source document-oriented database. The term NoSQL means non-relational. It means the MongoDB isn't based on the table-like relational database structure, but provides an altogether different mechanism for storing and retrieval of data. SQL means structured query language. It's a standard database language. It is used to create, maintain, and retrieve the relational databases. Responsibilities of a full-stack developer are diligent troubleshooting issues, maintaining code applications, manage web development, effective collaboration with other developers, work on animations, graphics, and design, creating robust testing models for web apps, client-side coding and server-side scripting, building and regularly managing the databases. Front-end developers are mostly creative, imaginative, innovative, and empathetic, but back-end developers are analytical, fast composed, and logical and detail-oriented. Front-end developers create the user-friendly web pages, but back-end developers create the application and database, ensuring the front-end operations are smooth. Full-stack development mostly back-end work, but also adapted front-end languages to manipulate how the site looks on the user's end. Some of the needed skills. Testing and debugging skills. As you are developing your application, there will be an errors in your code that need fixing. Debugging is the act of identifying those errors and fixing them. Errors are called as bugs. Testing is another important skill to learn. Writing tests for your code is a way to ensure that your code is doing what it is supposed to do. Version control. Version control is a way to track and manage changes to the process code. Git is a popular software that you can use to track your code. If you mess up a lot of things in your code, you can use Git to go back to the previous version of your code instead of manually rewriting everything. Learning Git also allows you to collaborate with others on a team and make changes to the same code based from different locations. I would suggest starting to learn Git and using a service like GitHub to host your personal projects. Problem solving. The most important skill for any developer is knowing how to solve the problem. Companies and clients are looking for you to provide the solutions. It is important to learn how to tackle a problem, break it down into smaller manageable pieces and troubleshoot the issue in this web applications. Example of a real-world full-stack applications. To get a better understanding of what full-stack application looks like, on examining the website for logging into Google account, everything you see on the page would be considered as front-end. All of the buttons, text, colors, and layout are the Java front-end developer. When it comes to things like user credentials like the mail ID and password, that is maintained by the backend. All of the login processes and the user information are example of backend development at work. I hope that all you got some idea about full stack development. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vijay Kumar, for your presentation.
Yes,
and your presentation is like a professional. I like your presentation. The way the communication you have
Thank
been
you,
done.
sir.
Can I know what is the company that you have been placed recently?
Aspire Systems, sir.
Okay, good. So the next participant is Miss Saveetha from third year to take over the session on nanotechnology.
Good evening, everyone. I welcome our HOD and dignitaries of on and off of the dais and my friends. I'm Saveetha from third year. Let's move on the topic. Today we are going to discuss about the domain nanotechnology. The table of the content contains nanotechnology, history, working, nanotechnology versus nanoscience, advantages, disadvantages, applications, future scope, and conclusion. Nanotechnology. Nanotechnology refers to the branch of science and engineering devoted to the designing, producing, and using structures, devices, and systems by manipulating atoms and molecules at nanoscale, that is, having one or more dimension of order of 100 nanometers. The name itself, it describes that nanotechnology. The name itself, it describes that nanotechnology refers to the branch, and it's a Greek. Nano comes from the word Greek, meaning rough or something small that depicts 1,000 millionth of the nanometer. History of nanotechnology. Japanese scientist called Norio Tangerji of Tokyo University of Science was the first to use the term nanotechnology in 1974 conference to describe semiconductor processes such as a thin film deposition and ion beam milling exhibiting characteristics contour on the order of nanometer. The history of nanometer transcends the development of the concept and experimental work falling under the board of category of nanotechnology. Although nanotechnology is relatively recent development in the scientific research, the development of its concept happened over a long period of time. The emergence of nanotechnology in 1980s was caused by convergence of experimental advances such as the invention of the scanning tunneling microscope in 1981, the discovery of fluorescence in 1985 with the elucidation and popularization of conceptual framework for the goals of nanotechnology, beginning with the 1986 of publication and book of Engines of the Creation. Working. Nanotechnology is the working, understanding and control of matter of nanometer scale, where unique phenomena enable novel application. The encompassing of nanoscale science, engineering and nanotechnology. Nanotechnology involves imaging, measuring, modeling and manipulating matter at the length of the scale. Nanotechnology involve the design, characterization, production and application of nanoscale structures, devices, at least one novel or superior characteristics of the property. At the core of nanotechnology is the fact that the properties of that can be different at nanoscale for two main reasons. Firstly, nanomaterials have relatively longer surface area when compared to the same mass of material produced in the larger form. This can make material more chemically reactive and affect the strength of electrical properties. Secondly, this is also called as quantum effect, can be begin to dominate the behavior of at a nanoscale, particularly at the lower end, affecting the optical and electrical magnetic behavior of the materials. Uses of nanotechnology. The super tiny machines have ability to alter the characteristics of food just like they have changed the characteristics of the human cell. Nano machines can change the taste, structure, appearance, and most importantly, the nutrition that can be acquired by any food. Advantages. Advantages of nanotechnology includes the offer of potential for a new and faster kind of computers, more efficient power sources, and life-saving medical treatment. Potential advantages also include, while nanotechnology is seen in the way of future and is a technology of lot of people thinking technology actually revolutionize a lot of electronic product procedures and application. The area that benefit from continued development of nanotechnology when it comes to electronic product include nanotransistors, nanodiodes, OLED, plasma displays, and quantum computers. Nanotechnology can also benefit the energy of sector development and more effective energy produce efficient device that possible with the technology. Such items like batteries, fuel cells, and solar cells so can be built smaller and that may be too more effective with the technology. Disadvantages. The disadvantages includes when tackling the disadvantages with the nanotechnology, you will also need to point out what can be seen the negative side of the technology. It included the disadvantages of science and its development, the possible loss of jobs, possibility of developing alternating sources of energy that are more efficient and won't require the use of fossil fuels. This can mean that since people now develop the product at the molecular level, then it will lose its value since it can be mass produced. Nanoscience versus nanotechnology. It includes that nanoscience is a study of structural materials and materials on the scale of nanometers. 1 nanometer is 10 to the power of minus 9 meter. When objects so nanoscale in size, physical laws may not be seen in larger scale. Nanoscience involves finding governing laws of these tiny objects to describe the behavior of them. Nanoscience and unique and interesting properties of these materials. Nanoscience is cross-disciplinary, meaning medicine it using with better understand of the world. Nanotechnology. Nanotechnology is involving designs, productions, categorization, and application of nanostructured material. Using the knowledge on materials got from nanoscience, nanotechnology focus on the properties such as electrical and thermal conductivity, etc. Design and manufacture of useful things. Nanotechnology, also sometimes called molecular manufacturing. On the other hand, this is the design of production and application structure, devices, and the system of nanoscale. So, essentially, is one of the studying nanomaterial and their properties, and the other is using those materials and properties to create something new or different. Applications. Applications of nanotechnology already used in the computing, communications, electronics, applications to provide faster, smaller, more portable systems and larger for the amount of information. Scope. Enable to object harvest energy from the environment, aspirants to create their career in this field with better remuneration. Implementation of nanotechnology in India can be found in the field of telecommunication, computing, aerospace, solar energy, and environment.
Water purification. Biological water is changing the business landscape in both the developed and the developing world. But wait, what is nanotechnology? Well, chemistry. However, it's more like a science interface that connects different engineering areas. And not just any science. We're talking really, really small science. How small? If you compare the nano world to an orange, the same is comparing the same orange to Earth. That's kind of small. Similarly, microbes in water are just 1,000 nanometer. Water is changing the business landscape in So how does this cutting edge offers this has a variety of uses. It is used for several municipal water treatment plants. This technology also helps developing countries in making water accessible to all. In our quest to reverse the damages on this precious resource, it is clear that this technology will play a major role, and these nano steps will enable us to take that macro leap in this area. Giving back to humanity that precious resource, pure drinking water, a driving force of all lives.
Conclusion: this
Yeah.
technology also gives the opportunities for job aspirants such as nanotechnologists. Thank you for giving the opportunities.
Your presentation started with some professional, and you given a nice points related to the nanotechnology. So while coming for demo, we find some kind of lagging over that. But anyway, for the forthcoming session, try to avoid that kind of lagging, because we expect some kind of demonstration that whatever the presentation you've given over it. But anyway, we appreciate your efforts that you made it on nanotechnology, the topic that you investigated through the presentation. Thank you. The next participant is Ms. Indumati from second year to talk over about the Dbms.
Good evening to one and all who are present here. It's my pleasure to welcome you all. Let's me introduce myself. I am Indumati from CSE department second year. I am going to share some information about database management system. Let me start the session. In this session, we are going to see what is Dbms, history of Dbms, purpose of database system, architecture, components, different kinds of keys, types of Dbms language, application, relational database models, advantages, disadvantages, conclusion. Now we see what is database management system. The database is a collection of interrelated data which is used to retrieve, insert, and delete the data efficiency. It is also used to organize the data in the form of a table, schema, views, and reports, etc. For example, the college database organized the data about the admin, staff, students, and faculties, etc. Using the database, you can easily retrieve, insert, and delete the information. Next slide. History of Dbms. It was developed in early 1916s. In the later 1916s, IBM Internal Business Managers Corporation developed the Integral Management System, which is standard database system used. It will data in many places. It was developed based on the hierarchical database model. Next slide. Purpose of Dbms. The purpose of Dbms is transfer the following: data into information, information into knowledge, knowledge into the action. This typical file purpose system is supported by conventional operation system. Next slide. Database system architecture. Database system architecture can be seen as single tier or multi-tier, but logically database architecture is of two tiers, like one tier architecture, two tier architecture, three tier architecture, one tier architecture. In this architecture, the database is directly available to the user. Two tier architecture. The two tier architecture is same as basic client service. Three tier architecture. The three tier architecture contains another layer between the client and services. Next slide. Components of Dbms. When we say, first we can see about hardware. When we say hardware, we mean computer or hardware disk, input output channel for data, and any other physical components. Next we see software. This is the main component. This program controls everything. Data. Data is the resources from which DBMS was designed. The motive behind the creation of DBMS was store and utilize data. Producers, if refer to the general instruction to use a database management system. Database analyze language. It is a simple language designed to write commands to access, insert, update, and delete data stored in any database. Next slide. Different kinds of keys. Super keys. A super key refers to the set of all those keys that helps us uniquely identify all the rows present in a table. Candidate key. Candidate key refers those attributes that identify rows uniquely in a table. It has similarly properties as primary key. Primary key. It refers to a column or a set of columns of a table that helps us identifying all the records uniquely present in the table. Alternate key. Any table can consist of multiple choice for the primary key. Foreign key. We use foreign key to establish relationship between two available tables. Composite key. It refers to a set of multiple attributes and it has uniquely identify every tuple present in a table. Next slide. Types of DBMS language. DDL denotes data definition language. DDL creates a framework of the database by specifying the database schema, which is the structure that represented the organization of the data. Here's a list of DDLL statements. Create, alter, drop, rename, command, truncate. DML. DML provides operation that handles users' request, offering a way to access and manipulate the data that users store within a data. Here's a list of DBML statement. Select, insert, update, delete, merge, call, explain, plan, log table. DCL. DCL control access to the data that user stored within a database. Here a list of DCL statement. Command, rollback, save point, transaction. DCL management manages the transaction within a database. Here's a list of DCL statement. Grant, revoke. Next slide. Application of DBMS. Banking, airlines, accounting, reservation system, manufacturing. Next slide. Relational database model. It is an abstract model used to organize and manage the data stored in a database. Next slide. Advantage of DBMS. DBMS allows to retrieve the desired data. Data can be accessed efficiently. Data integrate management. Next slide. Database disadvantage of DBMS. Complex design, hardware and software cost, damaged part, convention cost, training, etc. Next slide. Conclusion. In conclusion, a database is a far more efficient mechanism to share and organize data than spreadsheets. Thank you for all. Thank you to giving me this wonderful opportunity, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Indumadi, for your presentation. Yes, your presentation is good, and the way of presentation that you also make it is nice, actually. But one observation from your presentation is when you are giving a database, like a database management system, try to concentrate what are the different kinds of databases, connectivities available, and at least go for any one demonstration, because the STEM program, the objective of the STEM program is not only to carry out the topic and make about what is the positive and what is the observation and what are the technology inbuilt which is available in the topic, not only to be stop over there. You want to go to the implementation part. So why I've been telling the implementation part, in the sense that implementation part is very important when you're taking to the real-time applications, that when you come to the third year or the present final year students, then you get an opportunity to make your projects by your own. So when you are taking a topic and go for the presentation, at least know about where this kind of topics can able to avail in a real-time applications, and out of that real-time applications where it has been implemented, at least a little bit of a connectivity made a demonstration, like a database connectivity with any visual programming, or you can take PHP, or there are multiple database connectivity. Even you can go for Java database, jdbc connectivity. So go for at least any implementation part by taking any programming language and take that particular part to be explained in detail. So that will give you an additional aspects of your informations, which take more kind of an topic observation, and that is what actually we needed in the STEM program. Okay. Anyway, I am just appreciate the three the peoples that would taken on today on different kinds of aspects. So thank you all for making this program to be a success one. And make initiative on another thing is, from previous program, that is STEM 21.0, we have an recognized by an Computer Society of India from Mumbai chapter. So one happy news that those who are presenting over here, they will get a recognized certificate from the CSE Mumbai chapter, and those who are presented in the 21.0 and those who are presented on today, that is Mr. Vijay Kumar, Saveetha and 𝙤𝙪𝙧𝙨, they will get a recognized certificate of a participate of an active presenting the topic with the topic name, and duly signed by the chairman of a CSE Mumbai chapter, that I will shortly present you through the e-certificate. So that is one of a credential for you, that take it for your resume and make to be an add-on and updated in the social media, especially in the LinkedIn profile. So make that opportunity and make your friends also to use this opportunity and make them to be in the progressive manner. Thank you all. Let me shortly make it on the next session, that is 23.0 in the next month. Thank you all for your patience and make this program to be a success one. I thanks to Mr. Karthikeyan, the coordinator of the STEM program from the final year, to make this program in progressive.